All right, so you have to type wget to download wget. You type wget right to your browser and just enter. Of course, you see the options. You see the JNU. The JNU is the body that guides wget, right? So this helps you to download documents. There are different document formats, right? But this can help you to download it. You can read more about it because this link will take you to a place where you have the basic guide on how to do that. If you don't know how to do this, I still have the whole material. I think you're still on Canvas, so you should be able to access this because I didn't log you out the last time. So what you do is you go there, go to the module that handles um, site cloning. All right, so let it come on. Confident, maybe you should remind your guys that we started. So when you go down, um, I'm trying to be fast because there's how long I can stay looking at the screen. Yeah. Okay, so this covers it. How to use duplicate, and it's under the 001 modules, right? So you have everything you need here, right? You can go through those, take your time gradually and go through them, but I'll teach you what to do now. It's not you have what you need to know. I'll show you quickly. So if you finish downloading duplicates, right? This is a site, and it's also here too. You can read up what duplicate is. They give you every basic here too. So once you're done downloading, I think there should be a link here that will refer you to where to download. Where is it now? So this is what you can download with wget. You can download the HTTP link, HTTPS link. Now the HTTP is not secure. Most secure sites you can also download them. FTP, FTPS, right? So all these parts, all the links, all the URL with these parts, you can download them using wget, right? And it works on Unix, it works on any operating system, right? Even though their procedures are different. So the next thing to note again is I want to get where we can download, or you download from here. What is duplicate? What's duplicate command? How to install? Go to how to install, and you'll be able to. So the processes are here. You may not follow this. I just want to download, or you type direct to your browser, download duplicate. They'll take you to the link where you should download. Or after the class, so that we don't waste time, I'll copy the link and send to you. You click on it and download it. Right? It's as you download any app at all. It's the same thing. Okay, so that being said, if you're done downloading, download duplicate for Windows. Look at it here. Okay. So this is the one you're going to download. This executable under 86. Right, you download that. Once you download that, you install it. Once it's installed, you enter your command prompt, and this is where you're going to enter. All right, if you said want to join. All right. So evening, if you said. So the next thing to do is once you are done downloading, are you following Kenneth? Okay. So once you're done downloading and installing, the next thing you do is go to command prompt, right? And then you check the version that is there. So how to check a version of a particular app via the command prompt is wget dash v. V is for version. You check it. So you have wget installed here. So you see this option, the suggestion, this thing you're seeing here suggests that wget is present. It means you've successfully installed, right? The next thing you're going to do again is to get the path, the command, the syntax that will get this path, this URL that you want to clone. You just quickly copy this. It's a syntax. You copy it and go back to your command prompt, right? Paste it there, space. Then you can now get your URL. So the URL is Ken data, right? But you know that if you're cloning, you're going to change some of the features here. Is that not so? So you change some of the pricing. You may want to alter the pricing and the rest of all those. So you get the source code first. You get this. It's a HTTPS link. It means it can download because wget is meant to cover HTTP, HTTPS, FTP, FTPS. So when you copy that, you go to your command prompt and paste the URL there. So you wait for it to finish cloning. Right now it's cloning. All right. Confidence, Nafisat. Let me just finish with this guy quickly so we can go to what we started yesterday. But it's for you to what I'm doing, everybody, because you may want to clone a site to view their source code to see what they did, and then you replicate. It may help you in cases you are rushing to do some projects. Did I log you out the last time I logged in? Don't worry, I'll send you a link to apply again. Yeah. So this is actually downloading. Let's just give it time to download. When it's done, when it finishes to download, we'll go back again and trace the source file, copy the folder, and then I'll zip it and send it to you. But you'll be seeing every single thing we are doing, right? So let's give it time to do that while we do other things, because I may not be looking at the screen for more than 30 or 40 minutes. All right. So as it's downloading, this is the site we are cloning. She wants to save data. She. Okay. All right. So that's it. When it finishes, we'll go back. Remember, this is the one you're going to install. If you install any of these ones, it won't run. This one here is the one you're installing, where my cursor is. Okay, so we'll go back to Git like we started yesterday. I'll still come back to what we are. We're doing two things at the same time. Okay, I think it has finished. All right, let's do Git. Then we'll come back to that. So we say Git is a version control system, right? Who can remind us that? Confidence. You were the first in the class yesterday. I think I defined Git. What's Git? Evening. Okay. Okay. Now, there are a lot of things, right, you need to note. But what I do is to bring to your notice that, hey, this is what you should be learning at a point. Some of you have begin applying for jobs already, right? When you know HTML, you know CSS, you know JavaScript, you know any language at all, it doesn't end there, right? You are going to be working cloud based, right? Most of your work may be virtual, right? Even if you work on site, your work is not just local. What you do most of the time is supposed to be online, supposed to be pushed to a place, supposed to be hosted, right? To have the effect you want it to have. You can't build a website for me and the website ends in your local machine. It doesn't make any sense. It's not going to create any change. So whatever you're creating should have the capacity to be pushed to cloud for others to see. Now, we first introduced you to GitHub because GitHub is like the simpler version of Git, right? Of course, it's built from Git, right? So it's like, okay, the compromise duplicate now, even though that's not the right analogy to give, right, of Git. Because most of the things you see that you click buttons on to have function on GitHub is something you will really need to give commands and you will know them with time. You need to give that command to have the result in the case of Git, right? So the first thing to note is you're going to follow the syllabus because nothing is new. All these things, I didn't create them. I learned them. I knew them. I'm using it. So there are already materials there in space that you have to use. You don't have any choice. So it's not like Koslov is going to create other things and bring to you. There are things that are there that I'm teaching you. All right. So Git is Git. Git will remain Git in the next 20 years, auto modified. All right. So this is what we're following. So first, we want to get started, and we have to have our hands over all these things. You have to know the things you need to know about Git, how to first install, how to download and install, how to configure and check the status of the configuration, and the rest of all those, right? So that's the first. Next is to get basics, right? Getting the Git repository, recording changes to the repository, viewing the commit history. Now you see that you're not hearing repository. Repository is a container that hosts what you are doing as a developer, right? And this cuts across any discipline at all that will have the material on GitHub. And that was why I tagged Scott and tagged Zainab because they are the guys who are into data analysis with us. And theirs is programming. You get so when you are using .py, you have a py file and you want to create certain changes and follow track it because you may not be working alone, right? It's good that you know Git. Without that, you cannot work, you can't collaborate. There's a future of GitHub. Let me show you so that you see. There's a future of GitHub, right? Let me enter this. Now, there's a future of GitHub that you see that this pull request, right? This pull request, they you can only appreciate this function when you understand the concept of collaboration. We've not started that. All I taught you was how to push your work and have it view it, and you're happy that you viewed your work on site. But there's another part where you have to pull a request, where you have to push a request so that other developers will see that you've worked on their stuff, on their files, and you're suggesting to them to merge your pull request with the original file they've got or version they've got. Version, when you talk about version control system, all those ones, the idea is this that you have two sides of you. the original side of you, right, or the raw side of you, and the modified side of you. When you have a source code, you have the raw source code and you have the modified source code, right? Where people who are advanced than you can view anything you see. I see there's a let me go back so you can see it. There's an algorithm that picks your growth. You see this is the algorithm that picks your growth. These boxes before they tick, right? You must attain. You must. There's something you must attain in HTML, in CSS, in JavaScript, or the language you are using. It is PHP consistently. If you're using that, there's a level you attain that this box will tick in every month, and then consistency in developing and the contribution you make to other people's project. Right? There's how your boxes will tick too. Right? This is a demo one. I do not show my the real one I use for work because there are sensitive materials there that I'm covering this that you won't want on YouTube. Right. So that's it. You have to understand all this. You've seen repository in the syllabus. See, that's what you have here. You have to create this repository, right? To be able to host your work on it, to have your work in this container. And all that we've done, you have to get the repository name, you have to change the branch to main, from known to what to main, and all those settings are the things you're going to now do practically with commands, right? That being said, we go back to what I was showing you. So get basics, recording changes to repository, viewing the commit history, undoing things, working with remote tagging, get analysis summary. So I think we should be able to cover this this week. I don't know if you're going to meet on Friday. Right, so we can meet on Friday. I think we should cover and then sum this up and we keep moving to branching and then the rest. We take it gradually so you understand. Note that it's quite simple, but it needs the sound communication for you to understand how to use this. You may watch videos, you watch videos and be tired until it is communicated the way it's supposed to. So you have to take it at the pace that will want you to understand, that will give you the access to understand. I don't rush anything, that's what I'm trying to say. Now, to do that, I've successfully installed, and I believe that all of you have done. So you are going to go to your command, your search box now, and type git bash. Git bash is a terminal that comes with what? With git bash. So if who among you here have not downloaded and installed git, you know you didn't do that after yesterday's class. Who is talking? Confidence. So you're waiting for me to come and do it for you. Okay. So who else didn't download? Now if you started to download this, so why did you download it then? You heard about it? Hmm? Oh, now you will follow because you have to follow. All right, so that's fine. I'm just on a lighter one. Okay, so all of you are supposed to download this. So once you're done, you run the bash. That's a terminal for it. So the first things you need to know is to configure your your terminal. Configuration is done because you're going to be working on different things, right? You may be collaborating for different projects, right? So as often as you come to work with your terminal, right, you have to configure it to pick your name, you configure it to pick your email. Now these things are not very, they are not hidden things. Why what this configuration does? Somebody is talking. Who is talking? Okay. You wanted to ask a question? Okay. All right. So after installation, the next thing you should look out for is what to configure, and the configure to these basic things: your name and your what, your Gmail. Now, this is why you do this. You are pushing. You are going to be committing certain works. The changes you are making, you have a repository, a branch of the work you have. Now, this is the analogy that will explain everything to you. You're working on a project, and that project is hosted somewhere, has a house where it is, right? And then Mr. A is in Lagos working on that same project. Mr. B is in Kaduna working on that same project. Mr. C is in Rivers working on that same project, right? So there's the duty Mr. A is doing. There's a role Mr. A is playing. Maybe in the back end, there's the role Mr. B is playing here in Kaduna, maybe in the front end, and there's the role Mr. C is playing, maybe also in the back end, right? Or database creation and the rest for those um, in Rivers, right? Now, this this work is simultaneously tracked, right? So you have your whole project cloned, you that is in Kaduna, and the one that is Mr. A, right, has his own same project clone. His effect is being made to his work, the version of his work that is working. I don't know if that's communicating sense, right? But it's still the same thing. You like, okay, the website we are cloning now, right? I have it in my local. Yeah. Okay, so let me practically explain this. We've cloned this site and it's done cloning, right? So let me drag it out of the user. You go to the local machine. Kenneth, are you following? This is your own. Okay, so you are looking for that Ken data. Let's look for it. Okay, so what am I not seeing it? Let me check this here. Okay, so this is the whole file that makes up the site you're seeing. All right, so let's close the terminal so that we'll have that run in Visual Studio Code. We open it. You have static mobile assets index, mobile one, Play Store, retailer, right? So let's check the index and see what is there. Now I'm explaining two things now. I have this thing cloned. I'm going to be working on it. Mr. B has this same cloned, right? Maybe I zipped it and sent it to him. He's working on it. Mr. C also has the same thing he's working on. And then we've created a repository that links all of this together, and we are now committing changes that we are making to that repository. And you remember that the repository is a container of the things we do, right? So once you commit your changes via commands, it goes to the repository, and you see that it's needing to form the particular site you're looking for. Don't worry, we're going to do that practically as we advance, because you're going to be committing certain things, and we'll get to a point where all of us will be working on the same project. And I think you appreciate that more. So you have this here, Kenneth. So this is your file now. You can edit what you have here now. For instance, let's open this with Visual Studio Code. Let's open this file with Visual Studio Code. So you have the index.html. You open it. Now look at everything. If you have the basic knowledge of programming, right, you can edit this and put it up to be your site. With the domain you've gotten, you can edit it, push it up, right, as your file. Okay, so but then if that's going to be a problem, just look out for the files you want, push it to the WordPress space, right? Okay, use the template, push this up, do all you need to do, right, for all the pages, and then you can now use the hosting this thing you got and push it up. Okay, so this is it. Now, if I start making any change and we have a repository and I'm committing it with my Git, automatically I can trace the progress to the repository. As I commit, it goes there. I commit, it goes there. So that's just the idea around it. All right, so um, let's view this. So I think almost all of you know what is happening here. So it's quite familiar. So this is it. You can edit this, change everything, and then you have it for another purpose. But that's laziness. That's if you want to buy time. Not actually laziness, you want to buy time. Or you want to view for learning sake. You can do that. Or you are lazy, you don't want to do certain project from the scratch. You can do this too. Right, so that's it. I've trashed yours, Kenneth. Now let's go back to the Git. That's the idea around it. So a central repository where we have to commit using Git to it, and we have the effect sum up to be the site we want. That's the idea. Now here, the first is to configure, like I said, right? So configuration is to your name and to what? Email. So the command is simple. These things you don't know them before. You have to take time to learn it, right? So it's not like there's one magic you're going to do. You have to learn it. Git config dash dash global, right? Global. If you understand the concept of global variables and the rest of all those, even though I've not told you, the global here implies that, see, you can view this or trace this anywhere at all that a repository has been called, and you can call your repository to this space and link it up. So whoever is viewing or can view the central repository, I'm using that for now so that you can understand. There are more better words for that, but I don't want to confuse you. Whoever can view the central repository can track who is making what commit or making what change to the work. So if I committed a certain change, they can trace my name and trace my email. So to say, okay, this work like this, Koslov was the one that did it. This other work, Israel did it. This other work, Nafisat was one that did that, and confidence, right? So that's why we have this, to be able to track those who make the particular commits they did or the particular change they made. Right, we'll do it out practically. So it's gradually as we're advancing. So to configure that, you have git config dash dash space dash dash global. Then you have space user dot name because you start with the name, right? And then you have it in a quotation mark, your name. So you have maybe the style name you use for, say, Ebon at DevOps or at Dev. Okay, so you enter. All right, so you notice that we have master, 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 master here. Now that's the default branch, right? Your terminal is going to give to you. But as we progress, you'll see that we are going to begin to change the branch to suit what we are doing. So you may have to change your branch because you want a version of this central thing we are doing that you can be making changes to, not necessarily affecting this until you commit it, right? I don't know if I'm speaking big English, but then we'll do practicals. So that's it for the first, for the name. You do that. Once you do this, you know that your name is there, right? And then you take the second git, the same thing, config, right? Dash dash global user dot email, right? Then you have that also in quotation. That's your email. Okay, so for me, I'll have WordMass. because that my developer's Gmail address, whatmasinfo at gmail.com. Right, so you enter. Now to check whether or not this has successfully been configured to your name and your Gmail, what you do is you still git config. You are checking now. That's the difference. Config dash dash global, right? Username, user.name. Right, so you see the name that's configured. I have airborne div, right? Now let's check the email the same. Git config dash dash global user dot email. See the email that is there, so they can automatically track me if I'm making any change to the central repository. Now the next thing I will need us to know again is how to create um, a repository. That's what is called git init, and it's spelled git. Use the normal spelling for git and then the init. Now before then, if those of you that downloaded, can you enter your git bash and do the thing I've done and see if you can get the same result? Do it now and let me have your result read out quickly. Yeah, who is asking the question? Confidence? All right, go ahead. Okay, oh, okay. I think I should try. Let me try installing it so you can see. Where did I download that yesterday? Let me check the downloads. Okay. Uh-huh. All right. So you had this right? Confidence. Okay. So I think these are the things you're saying, right? Okay. You just next. Additional icons. Yes. You click on desktop. You want this. You want it to appear on your desktop. You just click desktop. Click on the. Yeah. Once you click on desktop, it will tick that automatically. Windows Explorer integration integrated. I think that is by default. Have you done that? Okay. So you can new add a Git bash profile to Windows. Don't because it may give you issues. You have to understand. You have to understand the concept of. You have to understand the syntax to be able to use that. So just allow that and go to next. Are you there now? Hello. Okay. So hope I still have everybody in this meeting. All right. So next is you just this one you just continue next, and this should be ticked. Let Git decide, right? Override the default branch name for new repositories. No, don't. Let this click this. Have you done that? You go to the next. Can you guys hear me? Nafisat, can you hear me? Hello. Okay, I can hear all of you now. Can you hear me? I should go back again. This guy. So this is the one you tick. You tick this one, and then you next. Use bundled open SSH. Don't stress your mind checking what SSH is. Click it and go to the next. Use the open SSL library. Click it. Mhm. Check out Windows, blah, blah, blah. Click it and continue. Click the first one. Continue. First one. uh Get credential manager. Click that. Next. Enable file system caching. Yes. Next. Enable experimental support for sudo console. No. Just go. Right. So, and this is the last step. I won't do it because I've installed it already. So when you get to this point, continue uh, and enjoy your ride. Cancel. You're welcome. So if you've done that, we'll be on the same page. Right. So where were we, sir? Okay. So now you've checked to know that okay, you've been able to configure the name and the rest. So you have to git in it. And what was I saying that git in is for? It's for. So to start using git in a project, right? You have to navigate to your project's directory and initialize a Git repository. Now, the same thing that happens to push your work to GitHub, you have to have you have to create a repository with the plus sign or with the through the plus icon. You click create a repository, go down, put the settings and the rest. And that's how you have to initialize your Git here. Now we're not going to do the basic today. We're not going to do the in-depth one today because we're not calling our Visual Studio Code to this base. We just initialize the system entirely. So when you click on Git in it, you'll see an instruction popping up. So what reinitialized existing Git repository. Now, so this is the path of your system that's been called for here. All right. So you have a repository now. This is it. Okay, so now you will want to check the status of this repository. Is that also what is on this repository? You the next command to do that is to git status. So you have a listing of all that has been saved to that to the user, right? In users. That's the local disk. Have all these things there. Okay, now let's trace the desktop and call the desktop. So there's what is called CD. CD means change directory, right? Now let's CD to desktop. Let's change this directory. Now remember we have the systems directory, and that's where we've been able to call this listings from. We will now change the directory to the desktop. All right. So you CD. CD means to change the directory, and you change the directory to desktop forward slash. You enter. Right now, you notice that the master is now on what desktop. It has moved from master to what to this directory. You have slash desktop still hosted on the branch, the master branch. Right. So that's where you are now. Now let's check the things that are on that are in rather the desktop. Now we have lists And to be able to list, the command is just ls. Now you have what is in your desktop, right? I have the AFIT form, I have the AFIT project, I have analysis, I have anemia analysis, right? Anemia analysis zipped because I zipped it and sent it to the person who needed that job done. I have bootstrap themes because I was working on a lot of things to make it easier for my work. I'll just go and get the theme, edit it, put the things, give the people, collect my money. I was working on that. I was also working on car.py. I worked on car prices, analysis, and I sent it. You see the zip file was one I sent. Coding and robotics, I set questions for NLA, the Air Force Base. That's just it there. Coding and robotics zipped. I zipped it and sent it. Now, this is a track record of all that I've been able to do. I wrote a business plan for somebody in Edo. I've sent it. Look at it. A track of every single thing. JavaScript exercises. All these are here. Now, you can CD to a particular folder you're working on. Now, you know that, yep, yeah, go ahead. I just searched for the desktop here. So you write normal desktop. You know we have desktop in this in yes. So you just type desktop forward slash. Look at it here. CD first. And CD is change directory there. Is ls. So you are commanding it to list what is there. So once you've done this, the next thing is you may want to work with a particular folder. You remember that we've not called Visual Studio Code to this space, or we've not cloned. Hello. Oh, all right, that's interesting. Well done. So you remember that we've not really cloned a repository. We can clone a repository and start working with it, and we don't even need to go to our Visual Studio Code to do anything. We can clone it here, make the changes, commit it, and it appears on the site or on what we have in GitHub. Right, all this will be done. Right, so the next thing is to navigate to any folder here to check what is on that folder. Now let's check. Let's cd to, is that really a folder? Let's look for a folder. Okay, let's check if it's a folder. Cd hr underscore analytics. Analytics, right? And there's a forward slash, yes. So okay, so we've navigated to it. Now let's check the status. Um, Git status. All right, so nothing added to commit, but untracked files. Okay, so I don't think this is not a folder. So we really do not have anything there yet. All right. So, but once you call a particular folder, you call a file or a folder, you'll be able to, now you can you can start making changes that you want to make, right? Writing messages. I think we'll do that on Friday. You write messages and send them and have it effected on the site you're working on in the rest of it. So calling the Visual Studio Code space and start working with it. Or you can now command it from here and you go to the Visual Studio Code space and type and track all the files, track your CSS, track your HTML, track your JavaScript, right? And see the progresses that are there. And you can also view them live to see what is happening with the changes you're making from here. Right. So I think right, that's that for today. You've been able to know how to configure, to create, to change the directory. And then last, let me show you how to make a directory. You can make a directory here. The command to make a directory is mki or mk rather dir make directory. Let's say for instance I want to make a directory called um, git um, underscore beginners. You know what a directory is? Is that how you spell beginners? Beginners, right? And so make directory git beginners. Are you guys still there? You enter. So now you've made a new directory, right? Now let's you can cd to that directory, cd to get um git underscore beginners. Now your your path has changed to what git beginners, right? This is a folder of its own. You can start making changes to it, right? So that's how you are making. That's how to make a directory or make a folder. Let me use a more familiar language, right? Make directory. Don't these words you have to cram. You have to get them stocked to your mind because you're going to be using it from hands. So programming will change dimension soon for you because it will get deeper. You have to do this, right? I will teach. I will show you how to use the Azure. Is it how that's how I call it, right? So it's actually a management system, right? And it is the biggest so far for um, apps building, for web development, for machine learning, for all those. So almost all the work you can control those using what your Azure account, right? So we're going to talk about that after Git and GitHub because we're going to do this extensively. After that, we go to Azure, then you have it added to your resume as what you know. With this alone, any company will be happy working with you because it will be quite easy to navigate and collaborate. Right, so that has brought us to the end of the class today. The guys in data science they enjoyed it. I will have shown them the things I needed to show them so that they can start their their first project rather. But they are not here today, so we'll move it to Friday when they are able to join. Right, so that's the any question, please. Any question? Now, so the next thing is you have to go to Git and start reading. Don't wait for me. Start reading, right? So that when I'm talking about it, you have a good understanding, right? It will be like I'm taking it over again with you. So read extensively. Don't rush. Read extensively. Research, right? So that you know what to say when you are asked questions, maybe in interview or when you're working personally with others. All right. So thank you. Thank you for joining in today. We'll meet on Friday, same time. Cheers. Good night. Thank you. You're welcome. Navis.